Abducted Off the Street. The Carlesha Gaither story is the 2024 film directed by Katie Boland. It's written by Amani Walker and it stars Riele Downs as Carlesha and Sam Asante as Delvin. This is a brilliant film. It's a really strong film, and I will point out specific highlights in a moment. It's also based on a true story. However, I hadn't heard of the true story before. I also don't know exactly how accurate it is to the real events, but because I hadn't heard of it, I didn't know how things would end up. I'm not going to give any spoilers because I do recommend the film and I don't want to give away how things turn out. This is about, well, it's about an abduction, and Delvin abducts Carlesha, and the film is about the abduction and also about the investigation. The pacing is brilliant. The rate at which it cuts between the abduction with Carlesha and Delvin and the investigation and Carlesha's family, really, really fantastic. We don't jump back and forth too much. That is really jarring, but we cut enough that I feel like I got a good sense of both parts of the narrative. The performances are absolutely fantastic, and the emotions are very believable, and there's nothing about this that didn't work. It's difficult to talk about the film without giving away any spoilers. We do have a lot of the film taking place in Delvin's car, and I think they made great use of the space. We have a lot of different camera angles to keep things interesting. We do have other locations along the way, but I'd say the bulk of the abduction part is in the car, and the performances are just absolutely fantastic. Remembering that this is based on a true story, it's obviously quite an emotional watch. That's not to say there would be no emotional response if it wasn't based on truth, but that does give it another layer. And if it sounds like your kind of narrative, I'd say definitely check it out. I'd also say if you do watch it, do some Googling about the true story afterwards. I'd say definitely do it afterwards, as I did, just so you avoid spoiling ultimately what happens. But it's a fascinating case, and Carlesha is an interesting character within the context of the film. And I thought it was an impressive film, a strong narrative. As I said, I don't know completely how factually accurate it is. We are told at the beginning that there are some characters and things added in for the purpose of the story, which is absolutely fine, usually expected with this kind of story. And other than that, I imagine it's pretty close to the real events based on what I've read. It sounds very similar. So, very impressive, enjoyable in terms of being gripping, compelling, but also emotional to think that this is a real situation. I won't say any more. I don't want to give away anything else. But if it sounds like something that might interest you, I'd say Abducted Off the Streets, the Carlesha Gaither story, is definitely worth watching.